This video contains spoilers for Half-Life Alyx. In every generation, there are people born to greatness that can change the world for the better. Entering the 21st century, planet Earth's golden age had just begun where new technologies were developed by massive corporations. With these technologies, the exploration, experimentation, and expansion of new locations outside of our planet became a possibility, requiring the best and brightest that planet Earth could offer, and with few organizations capable of producing greatness through their work. At this time, the Black Mesa Research Facility and Aperture Science were seen as the leading forces in the science field, and with their greatness, they had a bitter rivalry. As the science expanded and these new territories were discovered, unforeseen consequences of the human's thirst for knowledge and discovery resulted in the world changing forever, where an experiment would bring through aliens from another dimension, take control of the planet, and enslave the population. With the majority of the best and brightest minds being wiped out during the destruction of the Black Mesa Research Facility, some did survive, and for the lucky that had not been at the facility, they would go on to join a resistance against the enslaving force, the Combine, using their intelligence to remove the power from planet Earth, and over the years, recruit many more members to the cause. Many years after the Combine's invasion, one of planet Earth's greatest minds of the generation would aid the resistance and maybe one day set up the technologies and building blocks so that those that came after him could remove the Combine force from planet Earth once and for all. Who was this man? How did he survive the Black Mesa incident? And what significance did he have to the resistance and the final removal of the Combine Empire from planet Earth? Here we explore in the lore behind Russell. With the internet having been taken down after the 7-hour war with the Combine, it is unknown where Russell originated from, although it is highly likely that he grew up in New Zealand due to his strong New Zealand accent. Moving to the United States of America, Russell showed great promise with his scientific knowledge and his ability to invent magnificent contraptions. With this, he heard word of a top-secret research organization and decided to apply for a position there approximately 1 year before the resonance cascade. With Black Mesa working on top-secret teleportation technology, exploration of other planets, advanced weaponry, and various other classified research, the parameters to qualify for such an illustrious position were set extremely high. Unfortunately for Russell, his application was declined and he was advised by a member of the administration office to apply again the next year. While disappointed with the rejection, Russell kept himself busy and continued to experiment on his own, tinkering with technologies. At one point, he used his advanced hacking and decrypting abilities to create a system that allowed him to download the entirety of the internet, in which he stored in the unlikely event that the internet were to go down, so that he had access to all of the information the world had to offer at one point. Although Russell had been rejected from the Black Mesa Research Facility, their work continued to go on, where they experimented with crystals from a border world called Zen. On a standard day within the Sector C test labs, the Anomalous Materials team performed an experiment using a crystal collected from the border world of Zen, where it would then be analysed using a giant anti-mass spectrometer. While this was the plan, as the beam hit the crystal shattered and the exotic matter within expelled out into the environment, resulting in a resonance cascade. With this, aliens flowed through into the facility where the faculty within the Black Mesa Research Facility had to fight for their lives against hostile creatures, and later, a deadly cleanup team ordered in by the higher members of the organization attempted to remove all traces of the event, including anyone who could have possibly witnessed it. While the Black Mesa Research Facility itself had fallen due to the constant waves of creatures, the scientists were unaware that across the planet, portal storms had formed, also bringing in hostile alien lifeforms. Some had come accidentally and simply attempted to settle in their new locations, where others actively attacked the scared population of Earth. Within the facility, the scientists successfully stopped the resonance cascade, but the damage had already been done. Shortly after this, the Black Mesa research facility was destroyed using a thermonuclear device, obliterating everything within the facility, including all research, personnel, and aliens. The aftermath of this experiment had changed the world forever. Many of the greatest minds of planet Earth had been within the facility during the cleanup and destruction, where their knowledge would now be lost forever. Luckily, some had escaped the detonation, and some had not been at the facility at all. Due to his rejected application, Russell had avoided attending the Black Mesa research facility, and in turn, this rejection had essentially saved his life. With the human population attempting to fight against the hostile aliens that were appearing through the portal storms, they became weaker and weaker, slowly more and more unprepared for another attack that was soon to come. Out there, in the multiverse, the aftermath of the resonance cascade had alerted the Combine, an interdimensional alien force with the goal to control the multiverse. This empire had become aware of planet Earth, the existence of humans, and now they would make their way in to take control. Using their advanced technology and brute force, the first wave of the Combine forces added planet Earth to their collection in merely 7 hours. During this war, the planet's forces fell and many humans died. That was until Dr. Wallace Breen, on behalf of the human population, submitted to the Combine rule. During this commotion, Russell retained his technologies and information just in case he was needed when humanity would inevitably grow and fight back against the Combine. Although the Black Mesa incident had resulted in the death of many of the scientists, few did survive, 2 of them being Dr. Eli Vance and his friend, Dr. Isaac Kleiner. With the Combine adding their adjustments to break the will of the stronger members of the human species, Eli and Isaac became members of City-17, one of the locations set up by the Combine to house the human population, where they could then monitor, control, and experiment on those that did not comply with their orders. With the Combine setting up their technologies across the planet, Russell used this opportunity to learn more about them and in turn adapt their technologies and experiment on the creatures that had come through the portal storms to increase his knowledge. Over the years, Russell worked in secret from the Combine's rule, and during this time, he met Dr. Eli Vance, where Russell became a member of a resistance against the Combine. With this, he grew a strong bond with both Eli and Eli's daughter, Alyx. With growing a strong connection to those within the resistance, he allowed them to call him Russ. As the resistance slowly grew and added new members, Russell, on the surface, complied with the Combine's orders, where he, like many of the population of City-17, were assigned to tasks to perform across the city. For his job, he was given orange overalls. With the resistance constructing bases across the city, this uniform allowed him to navigate the city in plain sight without the suspicion of the Combine forces that patrolled the streets searching for those planning to rebel. While it is unknown exactly what Russell did, his overalls had Cyrillic symbols on them which roughly translated to Quartermaster. 5 years before the return of Gordon Freeman, Russell had become an essential member of the resistance against the Combine. Within City-17, he had set up his own secret lab hidden away within a secret apartment. With the apartment appearing to be that of a normal apartment, Russell was able to evade the standard searches of the Combine soldiers that search for any indication of suspicious activity or suggestion of the Resistance Manifesto. In the small chance that the Civil Protection did discover his lab, Russell had a handgun at the ready just in case he had to use it to defend himself and in turn, the research and any knowledge of the Resistance activity. With his knack for technology, Russell experimented with the Combine equipment that he could acquire in secret. As he could navigate the streets while wearing his overalls, he could easily pick up various items of significance without alerting the Civil Protection. In one case, he had disabled and stolen a Combine city scanner from the streets. With this scanner, he adjusted it and turned it into his own personal drone. Using this, he observed the area around City 17 for Combine activity so that he and the Resistance could plan ahead and stay safe from capture. He did this using a camera he had installed within, where the signal of these reports could then be boosted back to his secret lab using an antenna. Russell had also given the drone an arm so that it could carry light items in the event he needed to secretly and efficiently send over something to another Resistance member. To complete the drone, Russell installed a high-powered laser designed to cut through tough metal and strong surfaces. This would come in handy if he or another Resistance member needed to access a locked location, or even to allow the drone to defend itself in the event it was detected by Combine forces. While Russell's personal drone itself was a great use of his technological abilities, and now one of the Resistance's greatest assets, Russell also worked on other pieces of technology to aid the cause. With the Combine introducing new machines into planet Earth, it allowed Russell to open his mindset on what was actually possible. With this, he began to develop a pair of powerful gloves. Through his research and work, he constructed gloves to manipulate the gravitational fields around the objects that they aimed at using zero-point energy fields that were constructed within the gloves. From this, the gloves allowed the user to affect the objects around them without touching them, essentially pulling anything fairly light towards the user that they pointed at. While gravity gloves would have been a great name for them, Russell insisted that they be called Russells, only he would still attempt to justify this name over the years. Seeing use in these gloves, he created multiple pairs in the event that other members of the Resistance required them in this fight. On a standard mission with the Resistance, Russell and Eli attempted to steal a Combine mini reactor, something the Resistance had done many times before undetected. Only this time, as the Resistance members around him acquired the mini reactor, Russell tested his luck in hacking into a Combine terminal within the area. Successful in his attempt, Russell managed to hack into the Combine construction network. Within this network, Russell discovered information on a very confusing and mysterious top-secret Combine building. This breach of the Combine security alerted the Combine soldiers in the area, and in turn, they dispatched units to apprehend those responsible for the break-in. Aware that the Resistance had observed something that they should not have seen, the forces captured those within the vicinity, but Russell managed to escape with the plans. Making it back to his secret lab, Russell discovered that both Eli and Alyx had been captured by the Combine. With each Resistance member of the raid being escorted by the Combine in separate vans, Russell sent out his personal drone equipped with grenades to take out the vehicles and free his friends trapped within them. Unaware of which van held each member, he took his chances in which van to attack first. To his luck, his first strike took out the van holding Alyx, where the grenade detonated after crashing through the windshield, killing the Combine soldiers driving and stopping the vehicle. The drone then used its high-powered laser to release the doors of the van, allowing Alyx to safely leave the vehicle mostly unharmed. With her freedom, the drone handed Alyx a headset so that she could communicate with Russell, and now Russell could help Alyx and guide her back to his lab to safety. As she arrived, Russell remained hopeful that the drone would continue to free the rest of the Resistance, but on its way to find Eli, the drone was destroyed by a Strider. Now safe, Russell came up with a plan to save Eli from being taken to Nova Prospekt, where he would be brutally interrogated for the information Russell had discovered and the knowledge of the Resistance activity. For his plan, Russell informs Alyx that she will need to travel through the city to help her father, and for the plan to work, he would need to stay in his lab so that he could hack the systems across City 17 to give Alyx access to areas that she would need to get through. Sending Alyx on her way, he borrows her a pair of Russells and his handgun so that she could defend herself along her journey. On Alyx's journey through City 17, Russell aids her, educating her on what the world before the invasion had been like. Through his vast knowledge learned from the downloaded internet and his general talkative nature, He talks Alyx through uncomfortable environments to keep her going on her journey, where their bond grows even larger as she successfully saves her father thanks to Russell's help. Using the plans acquired during his data breach of the Combine construction network, Russell and Eli send Alyx to investigate the vault, one of the Combine's most advanced pieces of technology, believing someone of importance to be trapped within that could aid the resistance in the future. As Alyx accidentally brought down the vault while attempting to follow Russell's instructions, she entered the tractor beam of the giant structure. The last known communication between Alyx and Russell occurred as she entered the vault, a giant complex prison constructed to hold the G-Man. As she entered the vault, she did not come back out. It is unknown what happened to Russell after Alyx disappeared, but 5 years later, after Gordon Freeman's return to planet Earth, Russell was not mentioned and neither was his work. For someone that had once been incredibly important to the Resistance, this at least is a little odd. What is known is that during this time, Russell made a significant impact on the fight against the Combine Empire and he was valued by those that knew him. I ask Resistance member, do you believe Russell simply moved on to fight the Resistance alone? Did he die? Or was he also taken by the G-Man? While I did intend this video to be focused solely on the lore of Russell, I did find some interesting information when looking up his creation. Valve knows their fans by now and gave us information about his development. The first interesting thing I discovered was that Russell did not exist in the original draft of the game, but a man called Laszlo did. He was a kooky character that handed Alyx a gun and sent her out into City 17 to save her father. If Laszlo sounds familiar, that is because Laszlo is the character you meet in Half-Life 2 during the Sand Traps level. Funnily enough, when he dies after stepping onto the sand, the man with him shouts that Laszlo was the finest mind of his generation, ironically then being killed by an antlion, a simple animal to navigate around. I would hate to think that Russell and Laszlo follow the same path in which Russell dies in the same way. We do get a nice Easter egg within his lab here too, where we can see the name Laszlo written on a sticky note in his secret lab. Russell is also still named Laszlo in the game files. After this, Laszlo was then adapted into a Swedish punk rocker called Joseph. Unfortunately, I could not find concept art, but that would have been something great to see. And finally, he was adapted into the Russell we fortunately got to experience through the events of the game. It has also been pointed out that Russell shares a strong resemblance to a cut character from Half-Life 2. The character Odell was to be a Borealis engineer, but Valve decided to go in a different direction with the story. It would be great to think that Russell quite possibly went on to work on the Borealis in whatever shape it was in. He has the skills and knows how to work with advanced technology. It may be a stretch, but something to think about. Now, with everything covered in this video, my main question is, what actually happened to Russell after the events of Half-Life Alyx? We do have Laszlo appear in Half-Life 2, and we do know that Russell was slightly connected to this character. I would hate to think that this is how Russell truly died. I feel like Russell would be too smart for that. So my second thought is that he could have been a great candidate for the G-Man. If you think about it, although not combat efficient, his incredible ability to manipulate the Combine technology could quite possibly be a great asset to the G-Man and his employers. Valve, as usual, knocked it out the park with their creation of another incredibly memorable character. We know Russell's motivations and the way he feels about the characters around him, not just by what he says, but by the way he acts around them. His nervous and sometimes clumsy characteristics make him feel more real, and when in VR, he truly does feel real. Even when talking over the headset where he explains the composition of a floppy disk, or his love for club sandwiches, the writers here really knew what they were doing. Russell was a great character, and again, I would really like to see him in a future installment of the series. With the way that Half-Life Alyx ended, it could be quite possible that he is maybe at the White Forest Resistance base in an area we have not visited yet, just as a scientist that was not important to the story during our original play. That was the lore behind Russell. Similar to the last episode on the Vault, there was not a ton of information to dive into, but I feel like we were given enough. playing through the game to get Russell's little monologues about the world and words of encouragement was absolutely worth playing through sections of the game again. On my original playthrough, although Russell is not real, in the creepy areas of the game, he did help me focus on the tasks I needed to do. Russell was a great character, and I absolutely loved putting this video together just to experience his quirks again. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and a comment on your thoughts. If you want to see more, then please hit that subscribe button. You've probably watched a few videos already, so why not subscribe and continue? There's a whole playlist. If you would like to stay up to date with everything I get up to outside of YouTube, then go and follow my Twitter and Instagram. I also stream on both YouTube and Twitch every Friday, where we are currently playing through Alien Isolation and Fallout New Vegas on alternating weeks. The link is in the description if you are interested. Finally, I would like to thank my patrons who are helping to support the channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you to The Old Gods, Avi WV, Arco, Austin Moody, Brunette Janas, and Jojo Scotia, and an extra special thank you to the Elder Ones tier, Scruffshroom, Jonas, Lewis, and Queen Arby. Thank you so much, guys. What did you think of this lore video? Did you like the addition of Russell as a central character? Do you think he could have been taken by the G-Man? And do you think we will see Russell in a future installment in the series? I would love to see Russell again, even if we play as Gordon Freeman, just to see how differently he would interact with Gordon instead of Alyx. If you have any suggestions for future Half-Life lore videos, then please let me know. I do have a long list to get through, but the interesting ones always seem to get bumped to the top. Now Resistance member, enjoy your day. Bye.